Bend the knee.
Valor Mongolis, everybody. It's Don Willie back again for another edition of Ice and Fire Opinions. Holy shit! Sorry. Listen, I'm sorry that I'm late to all the live people. I literally just got home from work a couple of minutes ago and rushed to get this in. And yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm actually I found a way to use my DSLR camera, so this might look even a little clearer than normal, hopefully. But you know, shout out to everyone in the chat right now: Tyrion Jr. Landstark, Ricky Hunt, Frank from Way Off Top Radio, Shayna 83, DJ, and IC Spots. If there's anyone else in the chat you guys want to shout out, hit me up. Holla at me. You already know what it is. Forgive me, gotta take a drink. It's, you know, been a long day. Speaking of people who are having long days, let's talk about Theon Greyjoy. Man, oh man. This guy has not had it easy. Some say he has gotten the punishments he's deserved. Some say he has not gotten punished enough. Some say he's gotten punished too much. So, you know, it's all your perspective, how you feel about that. Now, you know, we know who he is. You know, he was the ward of Ned Stark. He dined with the Stark family. He was almost considered to be a Stark child to a certain extent, but he was not a Stark. And unlike Jon Snow, he had absolutely no Stark blood whatsoever because he was the son of a man who tried to become a king in his own right, and that man was Theon Greyjoy, who, by all accounts, was a huge douchebag. I mean, there's no denying that. So, you know, Theon growing up, knowing that he was pretty much a hostage, but also, you know, being treated, you know, with I guess some form of respect or deference or whatever. You know, it's got to be confusing, you know, because yes, you're being treated well, but I'm pretty sure the Stark kids at some point may have reminded him, you know, Ned may have reminded him like, yo, listen, man, you know, you're a guest in my house, but don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You know, and we know how motherly Catelyn can be. So, yeah. So, you know, just he spent the better part of 10 years as a well-treated hostage under the Starks. And finally, you know, when the whole War of the Five Kings breaks out, and Robb is like, look, you know, do me this solid. Go to your pops, give him this note, and tell him, you know, look, if he fights with us, I'll let him be king of the Iron Islands. And totally underestimating how Balon Greyjoy was going to perceive this, I don't even know what to call it, you know, offer, I guess, right? Balon Greyjoy is like, look, man, no. No one tells me that I can be king. I tell myself when I can be king. So, and shout out to Katie and Sutherland, Joe Swag, and White Privilege. And for those of you out there who might come across the video later, it's not the white privilege you're thinking about, okay? So don't go start leaving all political comments in my comment section. It's not about that, right? So, this guy doing all this for all this time, being with the Starks and forgetting his kind of Ironborn roots. When he gets back home, he's got his sister who's a warrior. She's been raised up in the Ironborn tradition. You got his pops, who basically was really bitter because, why wouldn't he be? The man fought for the right to proclaim himself as king. He got beat. His two eldest sons were slain, and his last living male heir was taken from him. Straight up and down, just, here we go, yoking him up. Nope, he's ours. Got him by the leash. Look, he's our dog now. So it's a really good tea, by the way. So in the instance when he's thinking to himself, yeah, the Starks have treated me well, but if my pops would have done anything reckless, they would have killed me. If one of my uncles might have done anything reckless, they might have killed me. If I got out of line, if I talked back, they might have killed me. So living with that on your brain for 10 years, and now finally, you come back home and your pops is like, yeah, I don't believe you're really one of us. You're not really part of the family. Yeah. You've been with those Northerners. They do things different, out in the Greenlands. We're here, we're the Ironborn. I don't know if I really trust you with affairs of the family. Are you truly Balon Greyjoy's son? Or are you, some Greenlander doing things the Stark way? I know. Total ridiculous mafia voice. But people in those kinds of situations, like what would you have done if you were in his situation? Because what happens if you go back to Robb empty-handed? Right? You go back to Robb empty-handed. I mean, maybe he might say, okay, cool, listen, as long as your pops doesn't get involved with the war, we're fine. Maybe he might think that it's a betrayal. I mean, because he's already got Catelyn spitting that venom in his ear. Remember when she got the letter about him taking Winterfell? It's like, see, I warned you, never trust a Greyjoy. So yeah, I mean, Theon wasn't necessarily in any good situation there. He was kind of in a lose situation, because if he goes back to Robb, if he's like, look, if he says the Starks have treated me well and I think we should take up their cause, he looks like a traitor to the Greyjoys. Him aligning with his family ultimately made him a traitor to the family that he's known for the past 10 years. But again, not really his family. So I mean, it's one of those things where how do you properly reconcile what he was going through at that particular point in time? Like, how is he supposed to actually navigate the situation in a way that benefits all sides? There was no way. There was absolutely no way that Theon comes out of this a winner. And let's say he doesn't take Winterfell. Still, the Ironborn decided to raid the northern shorelines while Robb was away. So now, you got to think about it like this. You got Theon who's there like, all right, well, what is the expression in the books? In for a penny, in for a silver stag, and shout out to Layla Banks who just subscribed. Thank you. Yeah, I was in for penny, in for a silver stag, or whatever. So I'm trying to gather my thoughts here, because this is a complicated topic. Shout out to young Dark Vader and also Lord of Last Hearth. All right, so let's look at it. Let's look at it real quick. He's in a place now where saying yes to one person ultimately makes things bad for someone else. Saying yes to his family means that he has essentially betrayed Robb, because he was like, hey, look, yeah, I'm down with you, I'm down for the cause, let's go get Ned back. I mean, think about it. If Ned hadn't have treated him good, if Ned treated him like a hostage the entire time. Now, mind you, he knows he's a hostage, but there's a difference between knowing you're hostage and being treated like a hostage. So, with him not being treated like a hostage, he was like, all right, cool, we're gonna get Ned. I'll get my pops to join in on this. Yeah, cool. But now, his pops is reminding him, like, yo, man, look, the man that you're talking about you want to rescue, he killed. Well, no. By then, Ned was already dead. So it's not even about that. At that point, once he gets back to the Iron Islands, it's, the man that you are now aligning yourself with, who calls himself King in the North, is the son of the man who killed your two older brothers and took you away as a hostage. So you can't. There was no way Theon wins. Now, where he went all bad, where he just totally destroyed his credibility, is pretty much where when he decided to not only seize Winterfell, but kind of terrorize people. I mean, they were pissed off at him. They had a right to be pissed off at him. They were like, look, we treated you with respect. We treated you with reverence. We treated you honorably. And now here you come you're smacking people around, and you're expecting us to show deference to you and proclaim you as, lord of the castle, and now you're Prince Theon, and all this. Yes, Bran, me and you are both princes now. You should call me Prince Theon. Like, come on, man. And then, there's the Reek situation, obviously, right? So, you have Ramsay Bolton, who shows up as Reek, and at the time, you don't know who Reek is. And it's funny because, like, the whole thing is way different from book to show. In the books, you hear about Ramsay running around doing all this crazy shit, and you don't actually hear about Reek until later. And you kind of get the backstory on the original Reek, and it just it's one of those things where, how sick and twisted is that, dude? And then I think I already touched on Ramsay, so if you guys want to hear my whole thing about Ramsay, go back and watch that particular video. But it's one of those things now where you got you got this guy who is in a real desperate situation. The Northerners are coming back to take the castle for two reasons. One, because obviously it's like, hey, this is Rob's castle, this is Stark castle, Ironborn shouldn't be here. But then two, there's the whole thing of once Rickon and Bran, had escaped his grasp, he's thinking that they're gone, I'm not going to be able to find them. He decides he was like, all right, what do I do? Now, in the show, there's the whole thing where he goes, I think him and Dagmere Cleftjaw snatch up the Miller's boys, kill them, and burn their bodies so nobody would know. Where in the books, it's actually Ramsay as Reek who goes, kills the Miller's boys and flays them so that nobody would know. Which is obviously beyond crazy, beyond a crazy thing to do. And yeah, I don't. I mean, like, it's funny. Like, I don't want to talk more about Ramsay, but I have to, because that's the only way that we properly address Theon. So, now you have the situation where he gets captured. And it's funny because, like, the way it happens in the books versus the way it happens in the show, again, totally different. And sometimes, this is one of those things where I really don't know which version I like better. Because in the books, it's Reek is telling Theon, hey, send me out with a bag of gold. I can go get you 200 men to hold the castle right now. He comes back, he's dressed in the Bolton gear, and Theon is like, the hell is this, Reek? What did you get that horse? Or, no, not where did you get the horse, but where did you get all those clothes from? Where are the men you promised? And then he's looking around and is like, wait, they're killing all of my guys. What the hell is going on here? And then dude kicks him in the face and stomps him out until he's unconscious. Whereas in the show, Rob sends letters to, like, all the Ironborn, and it's like, hey, all of you guys will get safe passage to the coast if you just give up Theon Greyjoy. And so in that one, now in the book, Ramsay burned the castle. In the show, it's I don't actually remember if Ramsay comes and burns the castle later, or if the Ironborn actually burned the castle on the way out. But they obviously did deliver Ramsay to the Boltons, and in both versions, the Ironborn were hunted down and killed. As many of them as they could. In the books, I think Dagmar Cleftjaw is still holding Torrhen Square, or I think he's still holding Torrhen Square, but he's about to be overrun. In the show, he was actually killed off screen. And basically, Ramsay kind of went around killing off as many Ironborn as he could and retaking those castles in the name of House Bolton. So, the next time we see Theon in the books, he's Reek. And when you get to that first Reek chapter, it's just kind of like, all right, what the hell is this? And he's recounting all of the things in his mind, about what's been done to him, how he's done things that he's not proud of, but he's got to make sure he's got to always please the master, gotta please Ramsay, never call him a bastard, etc., etc. And it was just kind of interesting to see like how much of a whipped dog he had become. But we're still we weren't fully privy to the things that happened to him. Now it has been mentioned about his appearance drastically changing. I mean, like, I think Ramsay even ripped out some teeth. He's definitely cut off a couple of fingers. He definitely castrated him. But the funny thing is, like, in the book version, Theon being castrated isn't explicit. It's an implied thing where there's a line where where Theon is thinking to himself like, that Ramsay has hacked away fingers and toes, and then he's like, and then that he was like, and that other thing too. And the show made it very, very explicit, like very explicit. And Ramsay did it in the worst kind of way too, in the absolute worst kind of way. He sends in two very attractive girls, to come and that, what I mean when I say that, but to entice Theon, get him all ready with the morning wood, and then chop down the tree. Man. And then Ramsay sitting up there with the damn sausage afterwards. I'm like, oh my god, yes. He's talking about he's not a savage. I'm like, how much more savage can you get? I don't think you could possibly get more savage than what he did. Shout out to Miss Mandy of Nath. Sorry, Nath. I don't know, man. Listen, sometimes it's hard to say the words that George comes up with. Sometimes, yeah, but man, like in the books, we don't see the torture. The torture is off the page. So in the way that George kind of writes things, a lot of times when you have characters who, once it comes to an end of an arc for them, whether it be midway through the arc or, the whole way through the arc where there's supposed to be a drastic character change, he makes it to where you think the character could have died. And this is a major reason why many people, including myself, Think that Quentin is still alive. Quentin lives. Remember, Quentin lives. But the fact that the torture is off page gives you something to imagine. And with torture being on screen, there's nothing left to the imagination, and some people felt that it was gratuitous. But personally, I didn't have a problem with them showing Theon being tortured, because in order for us to buy him as the whipped dog that he has become, I think we needed to see that. If it would just been a thing of, oh, he, the Ironborn knock him out, and then the next thing you know, we just see him kind of, imagine if the next thing we saw was the shot where Ramsay, it's the scene where Ramsay and Miranda are chasing the other girl through the woods, and Theon is following them around, and he's all beat up. I'm like, yes, you would have known he got tortured, but you wouldn't have known what happened to him, and it would just kind of be like, oh man, what did he do to him? And then obviously we have the scene in the show where Balon gets the note with Theon's genitalia in the box, and yo, Balon, number one dad of the freaking millennium, is just like, up, cut off my son's cock. He's not a man anymore. Yeah, alright, fuck it, leave him. And Yara is like, nope. He's still little brother. He's still our family. This is a slight against not only your son, but our house in general. I'm gonna go get him back. Yeah, it wasn't the wisest decision there, Yara. Was not the wisest decision. But, yeah, in the show, we get him inside the kennels. Yara comes and tries to take him back, and Ramsay did a number on him if he didn't even recognize his sister. And every time he, when she's up there trying to pull him out of the damn cage, and he bites her and runs back in. So just think about how crazy that is. What kind of torturous pain do you have to be in? What must they have done to him? Or not they, but Ramsay. What did he do to him that he's thinking that even his sister coming to rescue him must be a trap? Man, we saw, a lot of what he did to him, but then, when he actually was like, oh, I'm gonna reward you, reward your loyalty by giving you a bath, you see the many cuts. I mean, I think he cut off one of his nipples. He definitely cut off at least, he cut off the one pinky, because remember, he was like, oh, we'll play the game, and if I win, you get to leave, and or if you win, you get to leave. If I win, then I get to cut off your finger. So yeah, that shit is unnerving just thinking about it. And finally he snaps back to himself in the books and show. He in the books, he's able to save Jane Poole and make it to Stannis' camp, where Asha is currently a hostage, and we haven't gotten to see much more. Unfortunately, the only thing that we know is from the book perspective is that Stannis plans on executing him, and they're trying to, get Stannis to execute him in front of a weirwood tree. He obviously knows who the Ghost of Winterfell is, who's been running around killing all these people, or at least he's seen the Ghost of Winterfell. There's the whole thing with Barbary Dustin, where it seems like she's trying to get information out of him, or feed false information to the Boltons. You've got Roose, who seems to be scheming on Ramsay, or thinking that Ramsay is scheming on him. Ramsay is kind of pissed off at Reek because Roose is treating him nice. Shout out to Icy Fury. So there's a lot in terms of like George kind of pushed a lot of things through Theon that still have yet to be paid off. The Roose and Ramsay situation, the Barbary Dustin situation, the Ghost of Winterfell. Those are three things that still need to be paid off, and then obviously his capture by Stannis and whether or not he's going to be executed, for treason. Which it's funny though, because Stannis wanting to execute Theon for treason, it's not that it seems hypocritical, but something seems wrong about it, because he wanted to execute Theon for treason against the Starks, but Stannis also wanted to execute Robb for treason against him. So yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things, and I'll get around to doing Stannis one day, and I think James Michelle wants in on whenever I do the Stannis talk. I don't know about that one. I don't know if I want to start changing up the format just yet, but we'll see what happens. But in the show, we've gotten a lot further with his character. He was actually at the King's Moot in the show after saving Sansa. He, cast his vote for Yara. When Yara loses the King's Moot, him and Yara decide to steal as many ships as they can, go to Daenerys, be part of Daenerys' retinue. And, in season 7 now, we've seen that Theon was on his way to go and pick up the Dornish troops with Yara. We get Euron, who attacks in very ferocious fashion, kidnaps Yara, but while he's holding Yara hostage, Euron is like, "Hey, come and get your sister." Now, here's the thing, right? So it's easy to say that Theon is just he's just a damn coward, but you got to remember, he's been suffering PTSD for the past couple years, and he's been trying to get over that. He sees an abusive uncle who has his sister. His crew is running around chopping limbs and tongues and taking teeth out of all these people. Again, he was in a lose-lose situation. If he charges at Euron most certainly kills Yara and then kills Theon. He jumps over the boat. Yara looks at him as a coward. The other Ironborn look at him as a coward. Euron looks at him as a coward. There was no way for Theon to win that particular scenario. Lose-lose either way. And ultimately, I think his story arc will end with him sacrificing himself to save someone. Now, in the show, I think he will. And in fact, I don't even think it'll be necessarily a sacrifice in the show. I think that he will attempt to save Yara. He will save Yara. He will be leaving to go with Yara, and then wind up getting stabbed, through the back by his uncle, and then tossed over the side of a boat. In the books, I'm not exactly sure how they would, or how George. I don't know why I keep on saying that. I'm not exactly sure how George would go about doing that in the books. But yeah, I mean, Theon, very troubled character, very very underrated character, I think. I think sometimes people look at him and just automatically try to paint him as black and white sometimes, and I think he's probably one of the more interesting characters in the show and in the books if you really pay attention. But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't happy with how I wasn't happy with the whole thing of, like, when he decided to go and rescue Yara, how they made it so that he gets kicked in his non-existent. Yeah, he gets kicked in the non-existent balls. Need 4 times. Like, he gets kneed 4 times, and yet somehow he doesn't get hurt. I mean, like, there's still a pelvic bone there. Still a pelvic bone. Shoot, it should hurt maybe even more for the fact that it is, like, literally right in the damn pelvic bone. So yeah, I wasn't enjoying that part of it, but I'd like to get to the chat and take some questions. So yeah, for any of you out there who are watching right now who happen to have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I will be answering. For now. I'm surprised. So I got 20 people watching, no questions. Nobody has any questions for me. Come on, it's the Q&A session. Oh man, you know what? I'm actually really liking the way this camera looks. I'm glad I discovered this whole thing about for using the DSLR. I gotta get a better light though. I might invest into a ring light. Who knows? All right, so Jayon Calrissian. Oh, what's up? What's up, man? Is Theon the ghost of Winterfell? Nah, Theon's not the ghost of Winterfell. I mean, unless, and this would be crazy, unless Theon has developed a split personality, which you could kind of say that Reek is a split personality, but I don't know if for any of you out there who've ever watched Batman the Animated Series, Um, there was a time where Harvey Dent, who everyone knows as Two-Face, actually came up with a third personality. There was Harvey Dent, there was Two-Face, and then there was the Judge. And the Judge was going around and basically, without Harvey or Two-Face knowing it, became this third alternate personality that was going around dealing out vigilante justice. So he could be the Ghost in Winterfell if that is true. And no Icy Fury, not only Theon questions, whatever questions you got for me. So from Lord of Last Hearth, what will be Theon's redemption? That is a good question. I mean, Well, the question is, will he have a redemption? He might not have any kind of redemption whatsoever, and that would be a little messed up for him because, I think that everyone, at least, kind of deserves redemption. Maybe not everyone. Joffrey and Ramsay, not so much. Those guys, whatever happened to however Ramsay dies, probably won't be gruesome enough. Yeah. Oh, shout out to Ida Niles. And their question is, what episode do you think Theon will die in? So we got 6 more episodes. I'm gonna say episode 3. So that's my prediction. Put the stamp on it. Episode 3, Theon dies. Shout out to Anthony Morris. Let's see here. You think Stannis will execute Theon in the Winds of Winter, or is Bran going to Warg? Let's see, to intervene via the Ravens. Yeah, I think Bran could actually intervene on behalf of Theon. Yeah, he could warg into the Ravens. I mean, and that's been speculated that he's warging into the Ravens now, and that's the reason why Asha is saying, "Oh, you gotta execute him by the tree because the old gods are calling for it." That felt weird. Anyway, yeah, so that would be yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I mean, I think that's probably going to be the yeah, that's probably going to be what happens. Let's see. Katie in Sutherland says, you did not mention the impact Bran had on him in the books, reminding him of who he is. How big of an impact did Bran have? I mean, well, see, here's the thing. He doesn't necessarily know it's Bran. He, obviously, because we see the whole thing with the Ravens, we know that it's Bran. But the thing about it is, we don't even know if it's current Bran or future Bran. Because Bran can time travel, using the werewoods, and can warg into the past, doing that. So it's one of those things where it's it's difficult to say because even in the books right now, he's still kind of half Reek. In the show, yeah, he's half Reek, but he does kind of a better job at hiding it. Whereas in the books, it's like, all right, Theon pokes out here, but gotta go back to Reek because don't want to get hurt too badly. But I'm still Theon. Gotta go back to Reek. So that's the thing. So it's hard to tell what impact Bran has had on him as of yet, only because there's still so much of the Reek persona that's still kind of holding him back a little bit. Okay, so Joe Swag says saving his sister is not enough considering he got her in the jam. He has to do something bigly heroic. I mean, look, I think for the show, he's got about as much redemption as you're going to be able to give him for the time left. Again, he can't take back what he did to Robb. Because no matter how you might want to look at it, and I didn't realize I would move the camera. No matter how you might want to look at it, he did betray Robb. He gave Robb his word. He said, you're my brother now and forever. He betrayed Robb, and there's no way that he's going to be able to fully redeem himself from that. So I think that when it comes to the show, him saving Sansa and I think dying to save Yara, that's about the only redemption he can get. So I mean, should there be more? Maybe. But I don't think there actually can be more, and that's the whole thing about it. Let's see here. Icy Fury asks, if Yara survives, will she have had her tongue cut out? No. I don't think they haven't made that like a big point with Euron for the show. Euron is like a frat boy troll. He's like a troll that plays varsity football. He's the guy running around like, yeah, I'm captain of the team, man. Yeah, you saw the way I threw that touchdown? You see the way I threw that damn touchdown, man? I am the captain of the damn team. Goes out, gets drunk, starts fights with people. That's who Euron is in the show. They haven't given him most of his signature characteristics. So the whole cutting out of her tongue, while it would be a nod to book readers for the show, it would kind seem a little out of place if he just showed up and was like, oh well, if he just showed up now, I've got your sister and her tongue is cut out. It would be gruesome, but I think in this particular at this particular point now, it just wouldn't have the same impact. It would just be shock for the value, just like, oh, we just want to shock you. Look at what Euron has done to Yara. And it's just like, okay, like there would have to be a point to it other than just we want to shock you with the fact that Euron cut off Yara's tongue or cut out Yara's tongue. So no, I don't think that's gonna happen. Let's see here. From Jayon Calrissian, is Theon a kinslayer? He burned the two kids. I mean, like, it's been speculated that those Miller's boys were his kids. So if that is the case, then yes, he is a kinslayer. But I think the whole thing with kinslaying, I think the big thing with kinslaying is, like, you have to be aware that they are actually family members of yours, and that you knew they were family and you still killed them anyway. So, I mean, in the technical sense, if they are his kids, then yes, he is a kinslayer. You know, he is a kinslayer. But in the sense of, would most people who knew Theon, would they consider him a kinslayer? No, because this isn't something that's common knowledge, and it may not even be like really knowledge to him. It's like, yes, the Miller's wife says that these were your sons, or they might have been your sons or whatever, but you're married to the Miller. How do I know this? All right, let's see here. All right, so for Mandy, Tyrion's long last look at Dany's door. Do you think love triangle, or do you think it's more political, like, shit, now she will make more stupid choices to save Jon? I think it could be both. Could be both. I mean, Daenerys is a lovely young lady. And why would Tyrion not want to be king if he could be? But also, look, Tyrion did a whole lot of fucking up in season 7. But so did Jon. But only one decision almost got her killed, and got one of her dragons killed, and that was the decision to go after Jon. So yeah, that could be it could be looked at as either or both at the same time. All right, from DJ. Let's see, if Theon had a do-over moment, what do you think it would be, and how would it affect the story? I mean, I think his do-over moment would probably be staying loyal to the Ironborn, and how that would affect the story. Obviously, you don't get the burning of Winterfell, because that's not what he wanted to do. That's not what Balon wanted to do. Balon was like, look, we'll just raid and reave around the coast. We'll take some small stuff from the Starks, and if worse comes to worse, they'll have to sue for peace to try to get it back, or we might just be able to make some inroads back into the mainland of Westeros and carve out a coast for us. So it would have affected the story in terms of Robb still would have had to send forces to fight against the Ironborn, but he wouldn't have had to try to recross the Trident again in order to try to go back north to take back Winterfell, because him trying to cross back, him trying to cross the Trident again was the thing that got Robb killed, because it's like, shit, I gotta go back to where Walder Frey is in order for me to get home to get my damn castle back. So yeah, there's a lot of things that would have changed, but I think the biggest one is Robb possibly doesn't have to go back north. All right, so for Ricky Hunt, Do you think the captain's daughter Theon slept with gave birth to his child? Very possible. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, but also the thing about it is, doesn't matter. Theon at this point isn't going to claim the kid. You know, they're not going to have the last name Greyjoy. I mean, I think that the Greyjoy house is up for extinction. None of them currently have any true-born heirs. I mean, shit, is there any noble house with any true-born sons that are still alive? I mean, you got Trystane, Arianne, shit, other than the Dornish, I can't think of any High Lords that have any kids. I mean, like, we're still waiting to see whether or not Rosalind Frey was pregnant. No, Rosalind Frey is pregnant, but I mean, like, they're talking about they might kill Edmure, and who knows, they might even kill his son too. I mean, Robin Arryn, everyone's thinking he could die any day, which would make it, no more House Arryn. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I mean, I went above and beyond your question with that one in terms of just overly explaining things, but yeah, I mean, I just not sure that it would really. Not sure it would really make a difference, because I don't know if anybody would even know that was his kid. I don't think he would ever claim him. So, yeah. From Ida Niles, how do you think Cersei will meet her end? I think she's gonna get choked out by Jaime in both bookends here. Oh, damn. Man, okay, what the hell is up with my ear right now? I think she's gonna get choked to death by Jaime and Bookend Show. Let's see here. Alright, so from Ricky Hunt, did anyone else get creeped out by Asha continuously making her continuous advances towards Theon in Clash of Kings? I would say yes, in retrospect. That's kind of a really sick prank to play on your brother. Like, yeah, that's what kind of prank you're playing on your brother. But then again, come on, look, you got Targaryens with the incest, you got freaking the Lannisters with the damn incest. So, yeah, I think we're using our sensibilities with our particular sensibilities, it's absolutely disgusting. But even by Westerosi standards, that still seems a little disgusting too. All right, from Anthony Morris. Regarding the recent Nikolai Coster-Waldau interview, he mentions main characters in the show potentially ending up as whites in season 8. Who would be your pick for joining the Night's King army? Okay, so I think it would be awesome and kind of I don't know if ironic is the right word, but it would be I don't know, I think it would be visually stunning if Jaime winds up getting killed by the Night King and then winds up killing Cersei afterward. I think that would be crazy. Jaime gets killed by the White Walkers, raised as a white, kills Cersei. I'd love to see that person. Let's see here. Lord of the Last Hearth. Will Theon ever rule the Iron Islands in the book or show? Let me think on this longingly. No. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Nope. Let's see here. Ricky Hunt. Is it possible the Hound is a skin changer? His horse only listens to him and is violent around anyone else. Reminds me of Grey Wind and Rob. Possibly Warwick the horse. That's why he is calm. Nah. It's just, some animals get along with certain people better than others. It is what it is. I mean, listen, I have a cat. My cat gets along with me sometimes. She gets along with other people sometimes, and some other people, come around and she's like, nope, don't want anything to do with you. So let's see here. Let's see. Also, an add-on to that question is also, let's see. The elder brother says Stranger has too much of Sandor inside him, and the dog seems to like Sandor on the quiet owl. Yeah. Oh wow, Stanley Barath. I forgot all about Shireen. Listen, they kill off so many damn people. It's hard to know who's still gonna be around, who's got heirs that are still alive. We'll see what happens. But yeah, no, I don't think that the Hound is a warg at all. Stanley Barath. Speaking of Sweet Robin, I'm telling you, like, a lot of people think that Sweet Robin is gonna die because of things that happen. Like, it would be too obvious if Sweet Robin died. Way too obvious. No, I think that that Mr. Harold Harding is definitely Harold Harding is gonna die. Sweet Robin is gonna be Lord of the Vale for a very long time. Count on it. Sweet Robin is not gonna die. Littlefinger's son is not gonna die. From Joe Swag, Theon's bastards could inherit titles. That girl would technically be a salt wife, right? He'd have to claim her, though. He'd have to claim her. Let's see here. Now there are a lot of like lower level houses, but I was talking about like the great houses in terms of heirs. So those are the ones that kind of every now and then give me what I'm trying to figure out, like who's who. Okay, from Icy Spots, will Arya and the Hound meet and fight together again? If we're talking about it in the show, I'd say most likely. In the books, not a chance. From IC Fury, will Sam go back to Night's Watch, or is he the now Lord Tarby? I don't think he's going to be either. I think he's going to be I think the Maesters are going to be done once this story is over, and Sam is going to be like the new version of a Grand Maester, but maybe they call it something else. And if anything, he'll let Gilly and Little Sam get Hornhill. But Sam will be like some type of college professor. I mean, maybe he'll be Lord Tarly, but he just won't be, super lordly about it. It'll be like, yeah, I'm Lord Tarly, but who cares, kind of thing. Let's see. If Jaime kills Cersei, who will kill Euron? That question's from DJ. You know what? Who will kill Euron? So Jorah Mormont. I'm just throwing a name out there. I have no idea. I'm just going to say Jorah Mormont because he needs something to do. Let's see here. Oh, shout out to Ion Trone. Alright, from Ricky Hunt. Do you think House Greyjoy will survive? Will a Greyjoy rule the Iron Islands at the end, or will it be another house like Harlord, Drum, or Good Brother? No, I think House Greyjoy is a wrap. Yeah, House Greyjoy is a wrap. Could be Harlaw. You know what would be funny? If it was like Christopher Botley. That would be the funniest thing. Christopher Botley winds up being the freaking Lord of the Iron Islands. Shout out to G-Math. It says, fun theory. Let's see. I think the Hound was talking about Arya. She is the stranger, real death. It's going to be a needle in the eye. There's a reason they only show his eyes. So you're thinking that that Arya winds up sticking a needle through the Hound's, well, not a needle, but needle through the Hound's eye. Could be. Could be. Yeah, listen, I forgot about Shireen because they burned her in the damn show. For, in my opinion, all the wrong reasons. I think there's a totally different way that she's gonna wind up dying in the books. You know what? Maybe I'll do a video on how Shireen will die in the books. I have a theory on it. Let's see here. So from Ricky Hunt, did Sir Arlen, and this is Sir Arlen a Pennytree, really Night Dunk before he died, or is Dunk a liar? It seems to me Dunk might be like Heath Ledger's character from Knight's Tale, who was a squire who took the armor of a knight. And Ricky, I will agree. I do think that he was not knighted by Sir Arlen of Pennytree, which is why he hesitates at knighting. Is it Raymond Fossaway? Whichever one decided to become the Green Apple Fossaway. I think it's Raymond Fossaway, or I don't know, man. Like, it's been a while since I read the Hedge Knight And actually, I just bought the graphic novel for the Hedge Knight, and I'm gonna, actually go through that again. Just because I like seeing the visual representations of how they do stuff. Because to go back to the show real quick, the show has done, I think, a good job of giving visual representations of people from different regions, and so everyone from a different region gets like their own kind of style of armor. So the Dornish look sort of Arabian influenced. You have the Northerners who have more of a Scottish or Celtic influence. You have Tyrells, and to a lesser extent the Tarleys, who have more of a French influence. You have the Westerlands. I mean, which basically the Westerlands in the show is the Lannisters, and I don't even think we've seen any other houses from the Westerlands in the show. But the Lannisters are influenced more by English. By the English, and Stannis. I don't know. Stannis's kind of thing was, I'd have to look up his, but it didn't. That to me was a little kind of unrecognizable. Stannis's whole deal, but yeah. As far as Dunk is concerned, no, I do not think he was knighted by Sauron and Pennytree. I know I went off on just crazy tangent, Come on, we like tangents around here, don't we? All right. Anthony Morris. Bit off topic, but do you think Hodor is the bastard of Sir Duncan the Tall? And in addition, is Brienne descended from Duncan because her shield alludes that. Okay, so Hodor, I think, isn't old enough to be a bastard of Sir Duncan the Tall, but I think he might be, because he's old Nan's grandson, I believe. Yeah, he's old Nan's grandson, so I think if anything, he might be descended from Dunk. But yeah, if anything, he's a grandson of Dunk, if nothing else. And I think George has already confirmed that Brienne of Tarth is a descendant of Dunk. I mean, like, Brienne, I think, has already been confirmed. Hodor is highly suspected, and then the other one that is also highly suspected is Gren from the Night's Watch, because George did say that there are 3 descendants and possibly more, but I know he said there's at least 3. And Brienne of Tarth, I believe he confirmed was one of them, which is why Dunk's shield was hanging in the hall in her father's castle. Let's see here. Alright, from Ricky Hunt. What the hell is wrong with Mel? Why is she so bad at interpreting the flames? We see the fires show her Jon Snow when she asks him Azor Ahai and even whispers his name, but she does not understand. But you know what's the crazy thing? I'm still wondering what led her to think that Stannis was Azor Ahai to begin with. I think that's the bigger question. And I think the reason why she resists the Jon Snow thing is because whatever gave her the vision that directed her to Stannis Baratheon, she's like, all right, well, you brought me to this guy, and now every time I'm trying to get glimpses of Azor Ahai, you keep on showing me this guy. You told me he was Azor Ahai, or at least that's how I took it. Why am I seeing glimpses of this guy? So I think that's her big misstep with this whole thing is she's been thinking about Stannis so long from whatever drove her to Stannis that is inconceivable for her. Inconceivable that anyone else would be Azor Ahai. And I do think that this will lead to the burning of Shireen and the resurrection of Jon Snow. Man. Let's see here. Rick, it's fine. It's fine. You got questions. See, this is what I like. I like the questions, huh? All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. So Ion Trone wants to know if left and right are related to Duncan the Tall. So for those of you who have not read the books, left and right are these two guards in King's Landing. I believe they're... No, sorry. Are they in King's Landing? I don't know. The point is that they're both very tall. They both kind of look alike. And since... I'm trying to remember. Is it... I don't know. I forgot who it is. I can't tell them apart. But they're both very tall and look alike. So, it's like, since whoever it is that we keep on seeing from their perspective can't tell them apart, they just call them left and right. And I keep on forgetting whether or not it's Cersei or Jaime or if it's Davos. But somebody refers to them as left and right. That would be interesting if they were, though. What about the Cleganes? Could the Cleganes be descendants of Dunk the Tall? Because, look at the Mountain, look at the Hound, But I think the biggest clues, if you go back and read any of the Night of the Seven Kingdom books, look at what Dunk thinks about himself or the things that he is called. And the big clues are whether or not you see other characters in the books that are called those same things. Like, for example, Brienne of Tarth is like thick as a castle wall, which is something that was always said of Dunk. And I think also Gren is also described as thick as a castle wall. Yeah, so that that's those are some clues there. Alright, let's see here. Okay, so from Ricky Hunt, are the Mormonts actually Andals? Jorah is called Jorah the Andal, and he is a knight. However, you have to worship the faith of the Seven to be a knight, and say vows to them. Alright, so Jorah is not an Andal, but Jorah is not an Andal, but he was knighted by Robert Baratheon. There are a couple of knights in the north, and Jorah is one of the few. Roderick Cassell also was knighted by, I think it's either Jaehaerys or Aerys, or I don't know. He was knighted. He's another northerner who was knighted. But it, again, there are a couple, but it's a very, very small. I gotta look at and see what other knights there might be in the north. It's not a very common thing whatsoever. Let's see here. So from Ida Niles, do you think John and Danny will marry? If it's the show, it's almost a 100% foregone conclusion. In the books, not so much. So I'm not 100% sure how they would do it in the books. But for the show, yeah, definitely. If not marry, then you will at least have a proposal by episode 1 or 2 of next season. From Icy Fury, will Davos kill Mel? No, I think Arya has to kill Mel, at least in the show. In the books, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I think she's gonna die in the books. Davos and Mel don't have the same kind of tumultuous relationship in the books, though. So, no, I don't think that Davos kills Mel whatsoever. Let's see here. From Anthony Morris. So, in Bran's vision of the knight as tall as Hodor with a young woman, you don't think that relates to Hodor's conception? Okay, left and right is the Queen of Thorns personal. Yeah, I knew it was somebody. But I know Queen of Thorns doesn't have a personal, doesn't have a POV chapter. So, whose chapter do we see her in? Probably a Cersei chapter. Or maybe it was a damn, what the hell is her name? Sansa chapter. Might have been a Sansa chapter we see left and right in. But anyway, no, I don't think that was part of Hodor's conception. I think that was old. I think that's Dunk with old Nan before she's old Nan, and remember, like I said, Hodor is old Nan's grandson. And I think he's like 40 years old or something like that, because he's a few years older than Ned, I believe. So yeah, I just think that he would be too young to be God damn it, what is it? He would be too young to be Dunk's son. He would have to be his grandson. Let's see here. Okay, so G-Math. Yeah, the Manderleys. No, the Manderleys actually weren't even from the Stormlands. The Manderleys were from the Reach. The Manderleys were from the Reach originally. They got ran out of the Reach by not the Gardeners, but it was another house that was pretty close with the Gardeners. Because like before the Tyrells became the Lords Paramount of the Reach, it was the Gardeners. But before that, it was all a bunch of smaller kingdoms or whatever. And so the Manderleys was like the second most powerful house. Their luck kind of changed, and then you had another, whatever other house that was that didn't like them, that were kind of their neighbors, got up with the Gardeners and ran them out of the South. because they were along the River Mander, which is how they got their name, Manderleys. The story is actually in the World of Ice and Fire. It talks about what happened with them. Let's see here. A shout out to DJ11 and also Meridian Mormont, all the way from South Africa. You know, it's funny. I'm actually gonna have to end this pretty soon because I actually have another live stream I'm doing in about 20 minutes with Enchantment of Eternity and a few other special guests. So yeah, I kind of live stream myself into a corner tonight. I need to stop doing that. It's bad. It's bad. So, I'll take a few more before I go. Yeah, I'll take a few more questions before I skedaddle up out of here. But I definitely want to thank everyone who's come out to check me out tonight. You know, it's funny, so Ion Throne says streaming marathon. I've been up since. Damn, what time have I been up since? I don't know. 5 o'clock? Just after 5. By the time we finish with the stream tonight, it'll probably be close to 12. Probably not going to get to bed until 1. But still not going to be as bad as next week. Next Friday, I got to work. Got to be to work at 8. I'm probably not going to get off of work until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'll be up from around 5:30 Friday morning to probably nearly 3 or 4 o'clock Saturday morning. So that'll be crazy. Shout out to Sir LT Giles. Yeah, man. Thank you for showing up, sir. Oh, man. Huh. Yes, you're absolutely right, DJ11. Work is a 4-letter word. Alright, so let's see. One more question here from Ricky Hunt. Do you have to be a Valyrian to ride a dragon? Nettles had no proof she was a Targ, and the Valyrians had to learn how to tame dragons with sorcery. Possible anyone can do it with sorcery. I mean, alright, so Nettles, if I'm not mistaken, when that whole thing happened with them trying to find dragon riders, it was more of a thing of look, come and take your chances. If you have some type of Targaryen or Valyrian ancestry at all, then maybe a dragon might work for you. Yeah, there's still a lot that George hasn't explained George hasn't explained a lot when it comes to a lot of that stuff in terms of what kind of spells Valyrians were supposed to use in order to tame dragons and all that. So yeah, that's one of those things we kind of got to take on face value that she just was able to do it. And shout out to my man JD Rogues for life. You already know what it is. Alright. Let's see here. From DJ11, what will be the biggest mind bender that could happen in GOT for you? Biggest mind bender. Biggest mind bender. I think the biggest mind bender would be like Jon turning on humanity. You know, Jon, let's see, like Jon deciding to join the White Walkers. Like that would be, because it would be like, hold on. This is the guy we've been rooting for to stop the White Walkers, and now he's actually joined them and become like the biggest villain in the world. That would be the ultimate, like, mind blown. Yeah. Let's see here. From GMath. Let's see. Be a target to ride a dragon. Night King did it with ease. I mean, yeah, that's a show. You know. But who knows? If he kills a dragon and makes it into, a zombie dragon, maybe yes. Maybe he will be able to do that. Who knows? Yeah, but look, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up because I do have a couple of things I want to do real quick while I have a small intermission in between this stream and the next. And yeah, I want to be able to get that stuff done before I hop on to the next one. So, yeah, with that said, shout out to everybody who came through tonight. Shout out to all of those who will check me out later. I will be back, of course, next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, until whenever I finished on Thursdays. That's where you can catch me. I'm not exactly sure what character I'm doing next, so send me a Raven, suggest a character or whatever. Yeah, because I haven't figured out what character I want to do next. Oh, you know what? Nope. Somebody already gave me a character. I told him I will honor it if I remember it, and I do remember. So that was Anthony Vasquez, who requested Hot Pie. So next week, and probably what will be the most rambling I have ever done, because there's practically no information, next week, Hot Pie. Oh my god, they're going to kill me in the comment section for that one. Hot Pie. Oh man. Yeah, so you already know what the deal is. Everyone, rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends to come back for more. And like I said, I will be back next week with Hot Pie, because Hot Pie. Alright. Oh man, that has been my time, and this is Don Willie saying Valadohiris. See you next week. Hot Pie.